Claire Squires, April 22, 2012. The London Marathon is one of the world's greatest mass participation sporting events, drawing tens of thousands of runners each April through the streets of the British capital. On April 22, 2012, Claire Squires, a 30-year-old hairdresser and recreational runner from North Kilworth, was running the course as part of a charity fundraising effort. She wasn't an elite athlete chasing records, but one of thousands of everyday people who trained for months to push through 26.2 miles. Before the race, Squires mixed a scoop of Jack 3D, a popular pre-workout supplement, into her water bottle. The supplement contained DMAA, a potent stimulant structurally similar to amphetamines that was legal at the time, but whose effects during extreme exertion were not fully understood. For most of the race, Squires maintained a steady pace, moving through the miles alongside thousands of other runners. But as she approached Birdcage Walk, less than 1 mile from the finish line, something went catastrophically wrong. Witnesses saw her suddenly stagger. Her running form collapsed as her legs gave out. She fell to the pavement in full view of spectators and television cameras, her body convulsing briefly before going still. Paramedics reached her within seconds, immediately beginning CPR, but her heart had entered a chaotic arrhythmia that refused to stabilize. Claire Squires was rushed to a nearby hospital and pronounced dead shortly after arrival. She had been less than a mile from finishing her race. The coroner's inquest reached an unambiguous conclusion. The combination of DMAA from the Jack 3 supplement and the extreme physical demands of marathon running had caused fatal cardiac arrhythmia. DMAA was subsequently banned worldwide and placed on the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited substance list. Claire Squires' death became a stark warning about the dangers lurking in supposedly legal performance supplements marketed to everyday athletes. If you ever found yourself thinking about how far athletes will push themselves and what systems allow that to happen, hitting the subscribe button means you'll never miss when we examine another story that changed sports forever. Andreas Münzer, March 14, 1996. The professional bodybuilding stage demands a physical presentation at the absolute edge of human capability. Andreas Münzer, an Austrian professional bodybuilder from Graz, became known for achieving a degree of vascularity and muscle definition that even his peers considered extreme. He competed annually at the Arnold Classic, placing third in 1990. His conditioning reveals a physique where nearly every muscle fiber seemed visible beneath paper-thin skin, a look achieved through training and pharmaceutical interventions that placed impossible demands on his internal organs. In early March of 1996, just days after stepping off the competition stage, Munzer felt the first wave of abdominal pain. Within an hour, the discomfort had transformed into agony. His stomach began to distend visibly, swelling as if something inside was rupturing. His girlfriend rushed him to the hospital, where emergency doctors immediately recognized a catastrophic internal crisis. His skin had turned to a sickly yellow gray, a sign his liver had stopped processing toxins. Surgeons opened him up, hoping to find something they could repair, but what they discovered was total organ failure already in progress. His liver tissue literally crumbled when they touched it. They transfused blood, pumped in fluids, and tried every emergency protocol, but his kidneys had also shut down. On March 14, 1996, roughly 48 hours after that first stomach pain, Andreas Münzer died. He was 31 years old. The autopsy documented the final collapse of a system pushed beyond survival. Police recovered dozens of performance-enhancing substances from his home: anabolic steroids, growth hormones, diuretics, forming a pharmaceutical regimen of staggering complexity. Arnold Schwarzenegger sent a wreath to his funeral with the message, "A last greeting to a friend," a somber acknowledgement of a fellow Austrian bodybuilder whose pursuit of physical perfection had cost him everything. Birgit Dressel, April 10, 1987. Birgit Dressel was 26 years old and standing among the elite tier of international heptathlon competition, a German athlete whose combination of speed, strength, and technical skill had earned her recognition across European athletics. In early April of 1987, she began feeling severe pain that she initially dismissed as muscle strain. Within hours, the pain intensified into something far more alarming. Her abdomen felt as if it was burning from the inside, and her skin began taking on a strange mottled appearance. By the time she reached the hospital, Dressel was in obvious distress, her vital signs fluctuating wildly. Her organs were shutting down in a cascade that emergency protocols seemed unable to stop. Her liver function collapsed, her kidneys followed, and her cardiovascular system began failing despite aggressive intervention. On April 10, 1987, after days of desperate medical efforts, Birgit Dressel died. She was 26 years old. The investigation revealed what had been hidden beneath her athletic achievements. Pathologists found evidence of approximately 100 different medications and substances in her system: anabolic steroids, hormones, painkillers, stimulants administered over an extended period. The medical examiner's conclusion pointed to multiple organ failure triggered by long-term overmedication and toxic drug interactions. Her death forced the athletic world to confront an uncomfortable reality about the lack of medical supervision elite athletes were operating under. Taking a moment right now to subscribe means you're choosing to stay informed about the historical cases that shaped modern sports policy, and turning on notifications ensures you're part of the community examining evidence with the rigor these stories deserve. Silver King, May 11, 2019. The Roundhouse in Camden, London, was packed on the evening of May 11, 2019 for the greatest show of lucha libre. Cesar Cuauhtemoc Gonzalez Perón, known worldwide as Silver King, was 51 years old and a veteran of the lucha libre circuit, famous for his role in the film Nacho Libre and decades of performances. That night, he was scheduled to face Juventud Guerrera in what should have been another routine match. The match began normally, then Silver King suddenly collapsed in the ring. The audience initially believed it was part of the show. Juventud Guerrera and ringside officials quickly realized that something was catastrophically wrong. Silver King was not moving, not breathing properly, and completely unresponsive. Emergency personnel rushed in and began resuscitation attempts in front of hundreds of spectators. Despite CPR, defibrillation, and emergency medications, Silver King could not be revived. He was pronounced dead, his heart having suffered a massive cardiac arrest without warning. The coroner's investigation determined Silver King had suffered cardiac arrest, and medical examiner Dr. Alan Bates noted evidence suggesting that he likely suffered a previous heart attack months or years before. The official cause was ruled as natural causes, but critical gaps were highlighted and no pre-show medical evaluations had been conducted. Professional wrestling has long been associated with high rates of anabolic steroid use, substances that significantly increase cardiovascular risk, making Silver King's death part of a broader pattern where performance enhancement creates invisible cardiac vulnerabilities that can kill without warning. Tom Simpson, July 13, 1967. Mont Ventoux rises from the province landscape like it's a monument to human ambition and its limits. On July 13, 1967, the 13th stage of the Tour de France would take riders up in its barren slopes under a Mediterranean sun that pushed temperatures past 35 degrees Celsius. Tom Simpson, a 29-year-old British professional cyclist, began that morning stage already weakened by stomach illness. Simpson carried with him small tubes of amphetamines tucked into his jersey pockets, substances that were neither unusual nor particularly hidden in the professional cycling culture of the 1960s. As the climb continued, Simpson's pace became erratic. Witnesses described a man whose movements had lost their usual efficiency, whose line on the road wavered, his pedaling rhythm broke down, and his body began weaving across the road. Approximately 1 kilometer from the summit, Simpson's body simply stopped obeying his will. He collapsed onto the scorching tarmac, his legs still making pedaling motions in the air. Race officials lifted him back onto his bike despite his semi-conscious state. He managed a few more pedal strokes before collapsing again. This time, he didn't get back up. A helicopter rushed him to a hospital in Avignon, where emergency doctors worked frantically to revive him. His core temperature was dangerously elevated, his heart rhythm chaotic, and his body was in complete systemic shutdown. Despite their efforts, Tom Simpson was pronounced dead. The postmortem examination revealed heart failure brought on by a lethal combination of amphetamines, alcohol, extreme heat, and total physical exhaustion. Empty amphetamine tubes were recovered from his jersey pockets, told the rest of the story. If you made it this far into an investigation that refuses to look away from difficult evidence and uncomfortable truths about sport and human limits, subscribing means you're committed to understanding these stories in their full complexity, and the notification bell ensures that you're present for every examination that follows the evidence wherever it leads.